Welcome back to the 5th episode of the 2023-2024 Hersey Hoops Pod. In today's episode, co-hosts Ryan Contreras-Betts and Johnny Fahey sat down with Coach Rugg, Logan Luxem, and Brody Variano to talk all things Hersey Hoops, including their outlook as the regular season winds to a close. Welcome to the 5th episode of the 2023-2024 Hersey Hoops Pod. I'm RCB alongside co-host Johnny Fahey. Before we get started here today, we want to shout out our sponsor, Jets Pizza. They've been sponsoring us all season long. They're right over there on Rand Road. Our guy Raj cooked up a great student deal this year, so make sure to go check them out. Joining us this morning are Coach Rugg, sophomore Logan Luxem, and we got Brody Variano in. He just kind of showed up while we were walking through the halls this morning.
That's not true.
He
told me to come.
I texted him about a week ago, and I let you know, RCB.
See, me and Johnny have some conflicting views on how this morning went about, but, worked out eventually. I've had car issues this week. Johnny gave me a ride. Shout out Johnny Fahey, good driver.
Thank you.
Shout out.
Thank you.
So we're going to get started here. Got Coach Rugg in. We're finally able to get one of our coaches in this year.
Glad to be here.
How has the team been able to battle back from adversity all season long, in your view?
Well, at the beginning of the year, we talked to the team and talked as a coaching staff about what the development might look like. And one of our themes this year was that each month we were planning that we would be getting better. We told kids, told parents, talked amongst ourselves, December is going to be better than November, January is going to be better than December, and February is going to be better than all of those months. And we really think that has come to fruition here. We like where the team is trending. The rotation is starting to stabilize here at this point in the season, and we've been able to talk to a few teams around us that aren't real excited at the prospect of playing us in the playoffs. So we feel really good of where we're at. We think the best is still to come for this group, and we're excited to see where the next 3 weeks takes us.
Yeah. How have a lot of the role players, not like our main starters at the start of the year, but how have our role players really come in and helped out this team?
Well, basketball, like any sport, is going to go through an evolution. You guys know this as baseball players. The guys who maybe start the game on March 14th aren't the same guys playing on May 14th. So part of it was just simply finding the right mix of players and finding the way guys would fit together and around some of our main guys. So, looking at the two guys to my left here, Brody's really kind of stepped into that shooter role for us and has unearthed that he's been a good perimeter defender for us as well. So those were roles that maybe at the beginning of the season weren't set yet. I think we were still kind of figuring out what we had defensively with Brody, and he was trying to figure it out on the offensive end where he was going to best fit. I think that he's got a much clearer defined role and idea right now at this point. In Logan's case, he's been through quite the ups and downs this year. Started the season on the sophomore level. He's always been an extremely talented, extremely skilled player. So there's going to be some natural disappointment going through that. But when the opportunity presented itself for him to come up, he really fit well with the team. He's got a natural flair for the game, a lot of joy that he brings to the basketball court, and that was infectious for those guys. And there were a lot of folks that kind of saw him coming up as a turning point for our team, and I think the record shows that as well. Those are two guys, but really you look at a number of guys and you look at the larger scope of the team. We've kind of had a two-headed monster at the power forward spot this year. Early in the season it was Nick Alquist. Right now it's Joey Brown. Both those guys have embraced their strengths, played to help out the team there. Kyle Irwin's gone through the natural learning curve as a sophomore playing up. And that role as the defensive stopper, it's not a glamorous role, but it's one that really helps out our team. And then obviously we have guys like Charlie Thomas, started the year hurt, tremendous scorer of the basketball, and I think that folks are now starting to get a chance to see that. Plays with a lot of confidence, a kid that I've seen for a long time since he's been really in third and fourth grade. And so watching him have this evolution is not surprising to me, but a great benefit for our team. But even guys that aren't necessarily playing on Friday night, you watch things in practice like RJ's made a significant improvement, a consistent scorer around the basket, very just calm player. John Muchacha, nice jump shot, plays physical for us, gives us a good look in practice. Caden Shaw all season has just been consistent as can be regardless of what his role is. So when you talk about the context of a team, everyone sees those guys that play on Friday night. The coaches see all 16 guys and how they fit in the context of day in and day out and how they're helping to make us better and get to this particular point in the season. So, like I said, we're excited about the trajectory and where we think we can still get to. But there really hasn't been any surprises once things have formalized because we know the talent that these guys have got.
Well, you bring it up. You almost alluded to it. But there's been a lot of lineup changes. That's just been the natural ebb and flow of a season, whether it be injury or someone pops up and they go and have a great game or something. You're like, oh, let's give them an extra look. As a coach, how do you really take that and adjust as a coach when it comes to these player changes? Because you're in that role where you're trying to help them grow. How does that change when there's turnover?
Yeah. It's a lot of art, and I think that one of the things that's nice is our varsity staff is very well functioning and very cohesive. So each one of us has a role. Coach Hess obviously is the head coach, harbinger of the program, has to make the final decisions. He plays the most important role. Coach Taylor, someone that he's very close with from his Stevenson days, kind of the technician. He brings a lot of the strategic pieces. He's a good sounding board for coach, etc. I serve a role of, I know a lot of these guys from my roles of doing youth work. So my relationship is a little bit different. So someone like Logan, I've known since 6th grade. So I might be able to say things a little bit different to him than someone like Coach Hess or Coach Taylor who's working with him for the first time. And then Coach Rowley does a lot of the work behind the scenes, doing the scouting reports, getting an idea on the advanced scouts, working on teams, giving us an idea going into practice each week of where he thinks our focus should be. So because we have a well-functioning staff, it allows each one of us to take on and play to our strengths to try and help the kids work through. Let's cut to the chase. Everyone wants to play, and everyone wants to feel a part of something, and everyone wants to contribute. But as you alluded to, Ryan, at different times of the season, one guy might be a better matchup. One guy might be playing better. One player might fit better at that particular time. So you are constantly trying to manage the micro needs of the team with the macro needs of the player. And how do you kind of help them to see that bigger picture of the long season? And so there are guys right now that we might have a conversation with because they might not be playing now, but we might say like, hey, they keep improving. And we could see in 2 weeks them helping us in a role or helping us in a game. So you're constantly having these conversations as a staff, and you're constantly trying to help manage the kids through that up and down roller coaster of the season.
Yeah, thank you. Now, Logan, let's get to you real quickly here. As Coach Rugg talked about earlier, you really have jumped into a massive contributing role. You didn't start the year up playing that big of a role. How have you really kept your composure as you now are in a higher position, but also like teams are starting to get the feel for you. You've been around a little bit longer, so maybe the scouting report's out. How have you kept a level head?
Main thing, I just stayed confident, and I just always play with fun. I always play with joy. So every time I go out, I don't even think about I have to do this. Just not even thinking, just moving the ball, just having fun while I play.
Yeah. So what are some aspects of your game that do you think are already your really big strengths, and what are some aspects that you really want to improve for next year?
One main thing I want to improve is obviously getting stronger, because I feel like that's the biggest thing when I moved up to varsity level was the strength aspect. Something I feel like I'm good at is my ball handling and passing. I feel like I'm already high level at that. And another thing I need to get better is my three-point shooting.
Yeah, so who have been some mentors that you've looked up to? I know we've got a little bit of a younger team than most teams, but I mean, we still have some veterans that have been around.
First one is obviously Coach Rugg. He's been coaching me since 6th grade, so obviously talks with him have been great. Someone on the team like Jackson Hupp, I've worked out with him off season, so yeah, he's one of the guys I go to.
Now, Brody, we got to talk to you. Again, I didn't expect you to be here. Me and Johnny could argue about that later.
I'm happy that you're here, bro.
Yeah,
Just
I am
too, Brody.
Johnny told me.
I was excited, man.
I'm happy to be here.
So, Brody, you came off of a pretty big game not too long ago. Run us through that.
Well, it was really just another game, but they were in a zone. Wheeler was in a zone, so I just let it fly. And then after like third or fourth three, it was feeling good, feeling confident, so I just kept shooting.
Was there any point in the game, obviously all of us, we play sports here, so maybe we might be aware, so I'm just going to bring up a baseball reference. When you're getting to big strikeout totals, you have in the back of your mind. So, Johnny played with me. I knew when I was getting close to 10 strikeouts in a game when I was pitching, and I kind of was pinching a little. Did you have any clue you were getting close to 9?
Yeah, I did know the record was 9 previously. And then my teammates were saying, like, yo, go for the record, go for the record. In my head, I was like, I don't know if I have enough time to get the record, but I just, I kept shooting, and I tied it, so.
I mean, hey, you still tied a record. I mean, that's something I don't think I can say that I've done. That feeling was pretty fun, I'm sure, in the locker room afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was fun. All the guys were all happy for me.
During the game, or like before the game, Nick was talking about the record because of Caden. He said the 12 threes in the JV game, but he was talking about the record, and he said it was like 7 or something. So I went up to your dad after you hit the 8th one. I was like, he just hit the record. And I like said something to him, but I was totally wrong. So, but it's huge that you tied it still. It's a lot of threes. They were trying to like kill you at the end too. They were just going in and like trying to foul you. Like,
I mean, they were face guarding me at the end.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, makes sense.
Yeah.
Since I was hot, but.
Well, like, I've noticed just a little that a couple teams are guarding you a little bit tighter since that game. How are you planning on adjusting from that?
Yeah, I mean, well, after I was getting face guarded, they wanted me to set more screens, like ball screens and stuff, since they're not going to help off of me, which could get my teammates open looks. And then as other teams are like scouting me, they know I'm a shooter, so they'll just probably not help off of me as much as they normally would. But yeah.
So now just a couple general questions just going around for anyone to answer at any time. So we do have to talk about there's a last-second loss to Prospect last week. Heartbreaker. I unfortunately wasn't able to be there, but I was following throughout the day. How do you build from that? Like, what are some key takeaways? Obviously, another really tight game. I mean, so many tight games have been one bad bounce, one shot away. What are the takeaways from that one?
Well, in the moment, there's a ton of emotion. Obviously, you put a lot of energy and effort throughout the week to try and prepare for those games, for those moments, etc. And then from a coaching perspective, you try and step back and rewatch the film and feel as though, does the emotions in the moment match the reality of when you see the film? At the end of the day, both games really were great high school games. It's unfortunate for us that we ended up on the losing end for those games, but credit to them. They made some plays. Number 10, sometimes he wears number 20 for them. He made some great plays, and you give him credit for that. Going back to where I initially started, though, when you look at the growth of the team, you've got to put yourself in those positions to win, to feel that heartbreak in the first place. If you lose by 15 or 20 points, say, like, well, they're just better than us. Once those kind of losses and you feel that heartbreak, you also know, boy, we're right there. And I think one of the things that we came away from feeling is there are still things to clean up, but there's still another level for our ceiling to go to. So you come out of there with the initial disappointment, but then when you look at it through the broader lens, you feel pretty good that there's still things you can clean up and ways you can keep getting better from games like that. And hats off to Prospect, they're a 20-win team right now. So when you take away the name Prospect and simply look at the context of the game, we also had a 2-point loss to Lake Zurich. Yes, those are losses, but those are toss-up games. And these are teams that are probably looking at top 4, top 6 seeds in your sectional that you now feel very confident if you play again a second or third time that you're right there and you have every opportunity to win that game.
And what about you guys? I mean, I think it's probably going to be very similar to what Coach Rugg said, but.
Yeah, I mean, losses like that, like, just make our team better as a whole because, I mean, if we just go out and just kill a team by, like, 30, I feel like that's not as beneficial as a loss by 2 points to Prospect because, we could see them in the sectional or the regional. So, it just makes us confident going into the future.
Yeah, and I think our main thing is we're still young, so like all of us haven't played together, and our chemistry, like we're all still clicking and trying to work together. So yeah, we'll get better.
You guys got any like favorite memories of the year? Let's like get away from the sad stuff. Let's like favorite part of the year so far.
Probably just all the memories we made at Pekin. I mean, the bus rides, all the pranks in the hotel rooms and stuff.
Got any specific ones that you could share?
I think just some of Muchach's pranks, throwing sour cream at each other's doors and stuff. disgusting, but yeah, that's a good one.
One for me was probably Caden's 12 threes. That was pretty
It's
cool.
fun to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Rugg, you got a favorite memory?
So I didn't make the last game at Pekin. I was actually back here with some of the other youth stuff that I've got to do. But I was at lunch with a friend of mine, and we were watching the game while it was going on. And in the end of that game, Logan hit a big shot. And in real time, he of course doesn't know this, I'm watching it as he steps off the three-point line. I'm like, oh, you got to shoot that, man. And then he makes the next one after, like, oh, great shot, great shot, great shot.
So what are you guys most excited about with these last couple of regular season games here? Obviously, we're winding down. I mean, it's shocking how quickly this season, at least from our perspective, has flown by. What about you guys?
One thing is like playing my first playoff game. I feel like that'll be really fun. It'd be good to compete in.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to compete in the playoffs, see how far we get. Hopefully don't get bounced in the second round.
So what about some favorite pregame meals? We've asked this every week. We've actually gotten a lot more healthy answers lately, Johnny.
Yeah, the first weeks were like Fruit Loops and like Skittles and stuff, and now it's getting a little bit better.
But
Wait,
let's.
Quinn Mullen's not here anymore.
No,
He was in that
Quinn
Somebody Kyle.
like would just like take a scoop of pre-workout and just eat it. He's a different breed.
Yeah.
As far as pregame meals, some like pasta, eat some carbs going, carb up a little bit, and then like right before the game, I mean I got Skittles in my bag. Sometimes I'll pour some in my hand. Just
Brody's a Skittles guy.
Big Skittles guy. I agree with that. Skittles are that's my go-to.
For me, my mom makes this like chicken I have before games, before practices. Yeah, it's really good.
Coach Rugg, what do you got?
Well, when you're middle-aged like me, you're trying to cut back on the number of meals that you eat. So we'll leave that stuff for the players.
You guys like in your free time, no basketball, no coaching, no pregame, whatever, or like no scouting report. What are you guys doing in like your free time?
I'll go first. I go watch basketball games with my dad. Play video games, Fortnite, all that.
yeah. I mean I'm a big Madden guy. I like to play Madden against friends and stuff. Yeah, that's about it. Just video games, Netflix, usual.
Now I know Mr. Rugg, this is a little bit of an interesting one because you might not have as much free time as these guys do.
I don't have the same level of free time. Most of my free time comes later at night. So like yesterday was a great example. We had practice after school, and then I had practice with my third grade son, and then I had practice with my seventh grade son. So I didn't get home till about 9:45 last night. But that's okay. I do enjoy working out. Try and find some time to, get a lift in or get a run or something on the bike each night, and usually that's my decompress time. So, but that's usually like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then I'm typically in bed by 11, ready to do it again the next day.
I would not be able to do that like at all.
Oh, just wait till you're in your 40s, man.
Logan and Brody, you guys got a celebrity crush?
Oh, that's tough.
Megan Fox.
The girl from Outer Banks. What is her name?
Madeline Klein?
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
See, Johnny's gonna try to force one out of me eventually.
He won't do it for some reason.
I won't do
That's
it.
really
We'll
annoying.
figure it out. Before we wrap up here, you got any shout outs? Some people you want to shout out before we close out the pod?
I want to shout out my dad, Jason Variano.
Shout out to Jimmy Panos.
Super fan Jimmy Panos.
Yep,
Super fan.
Jimmy Panos.
We're gonna get Jimmy in for a tennis pod soon, later this month.
Tennis pod, okay.
Shout out Coach Hess, Coach Rowley, and Coach Taylor. 3 great people to get an opportunity to work with. It's really been a pleasure to work with all those guys this season.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Big thanks to Coach Rugg, Logan, and Brody popping in. It's actually been a blast. Really great answers all the way around. So thanks so much for watching. Tune in next week. That's going to be our annual managers podcast. We're going to bring Wyatt Graberski and Brock Marion. So stay tuned. Thanks so much for listening again.